Okay, so our first project is simple and fun and doesn't require a lot of supplies because we're all at home with limited art supplies. So this cool paper sculpture was made from an old book, a paperback book. And it's very easy to do. I'm going to give you the instructions now, and then you will create one of these for yourself. So you want to start with an old paperback book. Here we have a book on Aristotle. This was from my college days. So that's pretty old, because that was a long time ago. And I am not likely to read this again. So I'm going to make art using this book. So you want to have a book that has around 300 pages. To have it look really full like this, it needs to be a relatively long book. So this is 336 pages, so that's going to work really well. So here's what you do. There are two folds that you need to learn, and you're going to alternate them each time with each page. So the first fold comes down from the top, and you line it up with the spine of the book. Try not to overlap it though, because you'll have trouble. I'll bring this a little closer. You want this right on the spine of the book, not over the edge, or you'll have trouble turning it into this circular form. It won't want to open up for you. So I'm going to crease that. And then you're going to bring the bottom piece up to meet that. Okay? So it looks like that. Then you turn the page. Oh, see, now this is a happy accident, because this is going to make my point. So do you see that's getting caught in the spine? So I'm going to back this off just a little bit. It's supposed to go to the spine, but if you get too far into the spine, you're going to have trouble getting this to cooperate for you. Okay, that's better. Okay, my next page, so here I came down from the top, right? I folded down from the top. You're going to do the same thing, but you're going to come up from the bottom, right next to the spine. And then this time, you're going to fold this over at a 45 degree until it reaches this point. It creates this point. And then you fold that. All right, so you fold it up from the bottom, and then you fold over at the top until you basically get that point. When you do it, you'll understand. And then you turn the page. Okay, I'm going to go back to my original one. Remember what I did? I came down from the top against the spine, folded it down, and then I folded up from the bottom so that it actually lined up there. Some people like to crease their pages with something like a pencil. There's actually called a folding bone. I don't own one, but a folding bone is used by people that do this folded paper thing all the time. All right, so now I'm going to do the next one, which was the other one, which is come from the bottom. Crease it. Again, you can crease it with a tool. And then remember, this time we're going to come down at like a little bit of an angle until that folds and that creates a point. Fold it over, and on we go. So I came up from the bottom, so this time I'm going to come down from the top. So I made one of these last night as a test drive, the one I showed you here. And I figured out the lesson in my studio. And then I went up for dinner, and I brought the book with me. And my husband and I put on a Netflix thing, and I watched and folded. And it was very therapeutic. All right, now we're going to do the, if I came down from the top, that means I go up from the bottom. You get the idea. So as you're folding, it will become increasingly more difficult to keep the folded pages under control, right? They're popping up here. So what I find is helpful is if you clip them together, you can either use a paper clip, gotta have a pretty good size one though, paper clip to clip them together, or if you have them at home, I use clothespins, right? So now that's, I have to push it down, but it's not splaying open while I'm trying to do my folding. It keeps under control. And as you go, you can clip sections at a time. And then you will have less trouble managing the book as it becomes more and more open like this one. Okay, so you can see I'm about halfway through the book, and I've been keeping the pages under control by using these clips, keeping them sort of out of the way. Works really nicely. So I'm going to just clip this here. And I'm about halfway, so it should start to look like so. And as I mentioned, I have my laptop in front of me, and I'm enjoying a little Netflix while I'm doing this. You should know that when you get to the middle like this, sometimes when you go to fold, the corner doesn't want to cooperate. So I like to stick my finger in there so that it doesn't keep ripping, because the book is sort of bending the other way. So I'm going to show you another page. So I'm going to come up from the top here, folding it down. And also it's kind of splitting away from, sometimes this happens where it wants to let go of the spine. And so I'm just going to put a little Band-Aid in here. Make sure it doesn't stick out. I'm just going to put a little Band-Aid right in there, and that's going to hold that page right where it's supposed to go. And on I go, folding down, coming up from the bottom, and then I'm really creasing these seams. You can do it with just your finger, but, and on you go. Okay, I've finished folding all the pages, and you'll see that one end has a tiny top, and the other end has a base, just like on a pot, right? Which is great. And what you're going to do now is cut off the cover, both the back and the front covers. I'm going to lay this down. Start with this cover. You want to cut it right near the spine. There we go. There's one. And then I'm going to cut off the other. I think I'll do it so I can sort of see. There we go, so I can see what I'm doing. If you have trouble going all the way through, turn the book around. Cut it from the other side. There we go. Okay. So now you have to coax the spine into a circle. You see the end here. This is the trickiest part because you want to train the book to actually stay open all the way around, and that's the hardest part. So when I worked on the other one, the sample that I showed you at the beginning of the lesson, this took the most effort, and so I'm not going to videotape me massaging this spine into a circle for too long. But it took me a little while. It took me a little while to get the spine to accept that circle, and then you're going to connect. All right, so I'll be back. Okay, so you've got the piece, and I've been working on the spine. I've been training it to stay around. It's taken me a few minutes, but I've just been pushing on it and asking this to become a circle. This is the hardest part. This is the part I worry about the most without being there with you to help you do it. But
you know, it's really lovely even if we end up with it sort of being a frontal piece, but you need a little patience to get the pages to train themselves to say completely circular. And what you can do is take the first couple on either side and use a stapler and go in. I have this really bulky stapler, right? We're all using whatever we have at home because none of us are leaving our homes. So I hope you have something skinnier than this. It's so fat that I'm having trouble sliding it down in. Like, I would love to get down and in closer to the spine, but I'm gonna do the best I can here and staple that in place. And then you turn it over and you do the same thing. Try to capture the same pages that you're stapling together. So that would be these guys here. And again, if I had a smaller stapler, I've searched my house. I do not. This is what I have. Get as close to the spine as you can. See, in that case, it actually kind of ripped the spine. And then coax it around. So I don't want you to make yourselves crazy. If you leave it for a while, even if you clothespin it or paper clip it open like this for a couple of days, it will end up more relaxed and it will actually stay where you wanted it, right? So I still have this gap here. But I really love the way this thing looks from the front. And you can see that when this was my book in college, I highlighted sections, and so I have a couple of spots where I've got yellow, which is kind of a nice, happy accident. But it's sort of pot-like. It's three-dimensional, which is what your class is supposed to be. And that's it. So when you're done creating it, put it to its nicest side, right? Not the side where we had trouble closing it up. And take a photograph of it. And there'll be a folder in Drive that I'll send you a link to. And you'll photograph it and put it in there. And we'll make a little collection of these, images of these. And that's our first lesson. Thanks for working on it, everybody.